8 episodes, nearly an hour each. A talking reindeer, a man whose beard is made of metal, giants who have been fighting each other for 100 years, and hairstyles that double as machine guns. None of this should work. Not in live action. Not on a streaming platform. Not in a world where most shows give you 25 minutes and call it an episode. And yet, One Piece Season 2 does not just work. It works so well that it makes everything else on television look like it is not even trying. So the question worth sitting with is this: what exactly did Netflix get right that every other live-action adaptation keeps getting wrong? Welcome to Review. This channel is where we break down the shows, films, and moments that actually deserve a deep look. Today, we are going in on One Piece Season 2, all 8 episodes, the scale, the cast, the action, and the one streaming problem it quietly fixes that nobody is talking about loudly enough. Full disclosure before we go further: this review comes from someone who entered the One Piece world through Netflix's live-action adaptation. No manga, no anime, pure live-action tunnel vision. That perspective matters here because it tells you something important. One Piece Season 2 does not just reward existing fans, pulls in newcomers and refuses to let them go. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why One Piece Season 2 is not just a good show. It is a statement about what television should be. The streaming problem nobody wants to admit. Let us start with the thing that should not even need to be said. Television episodes used to be an hour long. That was normal. That was the standard. Somewhere between the rise of streaming and the obsession with content volume, that standard collapsed. Modern streaming shows have normalized 25 to 40-minute episodes. Episodes that feel rushed. Episodes that feel underdeveloped. Episodes that end before they have earned their ending. One Piece Season 2 does not do that. Every single episode edges close to an hour. Several go past the 60-minute mark. Each one functions like its own mini-movie. A complete, self-contained piece of television that gives its story room to breathe. The fact that 1-hour episodes now feel like a revelation says everything about the state of streaming today. One Piece is not doing anything radical. It is simply doing what good television used to do, and in 2025 that alone makes it stand out. The cast that refuses to let you down. Here is what could have gone wrong. Season 2 expands the world. New locations, new characters, a larger ensemble. The risk with any expanding cast is that the core characters get lost in the shuffle, their arcs thinned out to make room for everyone else. One Piece Season 2 does not fully escape this. The individual character arcs for the main Straw Hats are not as tightly written as they were in Season 1, where each crew member got their own focused episode. The introductory benefit of Season 1 is gone. But here is what the show does instead. It shows us the crew as a family. Sanji and Usopp make a particularly fun pairing that the source material rarely explores. Nami gets significantly more stunt work than expected. Zoro relaxes enough to deliver the best jokes of the season. Usopp, thanks to shifts in story structure, arguably becomes the season's MVP. Jacob Romero is given real dramatic weight to carry, and he carries it. And then there is Inaki Godoy as Luffy. Luffy is one of the hardest protagonists to pull off. Immature, unserious, frustrating, hilarious, and endlessly endearing all at once. He is, in the most literal sense, a cartoon character brought to life. Godoy never lets him become tiresome. That is a genuine achievement. The new faces who steal scenes. The new additions to One Piece Season 2 are where the casting team, Libby Goldstein, Ruth Lambert, and Junie Lowry Johnson, proves why they are the secret weapon of this production. Baroque Works brings a roster of genuinely unhinged characters to the screen. David Dastmalchian as Mr. 3 is exactly as wonderfully unhinged as the role demands. He chews scenery with visible joy, and it works every time. Charithra Chundrun, best known from Bridgerton Season 2, takes on Miss Wednesday, a character who must integrate into the Straw Hat dynamic while carrying her own emotional storyline. She handles it with complete ease. Lyra Abova as Miss All Sunday is the season's most menacing presence. A femme fatale in every scene, introduced with an action sequence that immediately establishes her as a serious threat. Sophia and Caruso gives Miss Golden Week a genuinely unsettling quality. Cameras Johnson and Jazzera Jaslyn make silly devil fruit powers look cool. And then there is Mark Herlick as Dr. Hiraluk, a performance described as Emmy-worthy, one that is genuinely heartbreaking. Do not overlook it. The one weak link, through no fault of the actor, is Rob Coletti as Wapple, undermined entirely by a practical effect Muppet mouth prop that simply does not work. Coletti does the best he can. The prop does not cooperate. Chopper, the VFX miracle. From the moment One Piece Season 2 was announced, one question sat above all others. Could they pull off Tony Chopper? Chopper is a talking, transforming, emotionally expressive reindeer. Creating a character like that convincingly would be a challenge for a major Marvel production. Doing it across an 8-episode streaming show with practical sets and real boats seemed almost impossible. They pulled it off. Michaela Hoover's voice performance maps precisely to Chopper's face. He never creates the impression of actors talking to open space. His doe eyes get close-ups. Those eyes reflect the people around him. The VFX team, supervised by Victor Scalise and produced by Scott Ramsey, delivered something genuinely remarkable. The trade-off is real, though. The episodes built around Drum Island Chopper's home are the season's weakest in terms of production scope. Fewer locations, limited space for Straw Hat energy, a bottle episode feel that contrasts sharply with the scale everywhere else. The VFX budget clearly went to Chopper, and while the result is worth it, the surrounding episodes feel it. If this kind of detailed breakdown is what you come here for, the craft, the characters, the things that actually make a show work, subscribing takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps this channel grow. Now, back to the world of One Piece. The scale of the Grand Line. 3 years is a long wait, but if there is one thing that justifies it, it is the scale of One Piece Season 2. The Grand Line locations are realized with genuine ambition. Longtime, Whiskey Peak, and Drum Island are built on gigantic practical sets. Reverse Mountain and Little Garden arrive as sprawling CGI vistas. The production design throughout reflects a team that understands exactly what Eiichiro Oda's world looks like, and respects it enough to build it for real wherever possible. These practical sets pay off directly in the action sequences. Zoro's fight against 100 Baroque Works agents in Whiskey Peak is the show's biggest action set piece to date. It is outstanding from start to finish. A Kill Bill-evoking bar brawl that is long, ruthless, and beautifully choreographed. The Longtown battles match the quality of Season 1's best action. The finale's climactic sequence delivers on every promise made before it. What sets the action apart is the visual language. Wide shots dominate. The camera shows you the full battleground. There is minimal shaky cam. The editing does not rush. You always know exactly where everyone is and what is at stake. Season 1 was criticized for shortened or watered-down action. Season 2 corrects that completely, and then goes further. The devil fruit powers and the body horror turn. One of the smaller but genuinely effective additions in One Piece Season 2 is how it handles devil fruit powers in the final episodes. These powers are, on paper, ridiculous. A man made of wax, bombs shaped like human body parts, abilities that sit somewhere between absurd and grotesque. Season 2 leans into the body horror dimension of devil fruit powers in the later episodes, and it lands. What reads as silly in the early episodes becomes genuinely unsettling by the end. That tonal shift is handled with control, never going so dark that it loses the show's essential warmth, but dark enough to add texture. The devil fruit expansion also feeds directly into Luffy's power set. Inaki Godoy's facial expressions do significant work here. Season 2 finds more inventive ways to depict Luffy's abilities than Season 1 did, and the physical commitment from Godoy sells every moment. The faithfulness question. Here is where things get interesting. One Piece Season 2 is deeply faithful to its source material. Characters look like their manga counterparts. Costumes are 1:1 recreations, some so accurate they resemble cosplay. The spirit of Oda's world is present in every frame. But Season 2 also makes creative liberties. It front-loads connections. It uses future knowledge to reshape certain arcs. One arc is described as genuinely better in this version because of how it incorporates information from later in the story. Other plots are going to need significant changes to pay off properly. This raises a real question for the long term. Does knowing too much too soon erode the joy of discovery that makes One Piece special? The world of One Piece is vast precisely because it reveals itself slowly, seemingly disconnected threads crossing and clashing over years of story. The live action is already beginning to revolve the world around the Going Merry in ways the source material did not. For new viewers, none of this registers. For longtime fans, it is something to watch. For now, the faithfulness outweighs the liberties. But it is a conversation worth having as Season 3 approaches. The score that deserves its own spotlight. This section is for something that does not get enough credit in television coverage. The music. Sonia Belousova and Gianna Ostinelli scored One Piece Season 2, and the result is exceptional. Season 1 established strong leitmotifs for the main characters. Season 2 expands significantly, more complex arrangements, more emotionally layered compositions, and a specific musical identity for each island the crew visits. Whiskey Peak gets its own saloon track, featuring saxophonist Leo P, that is genuinely infectious. The integration of iconic music from the One Piece anime into the score works for humor and for emotion simultaneously. These tracks are worth sitting through the full credits for. In a season full of things that could have gone wrong and did not, the score might be the most underappreciated success. One Piece Season 2 does what great second seasons are supposed to do. It builds on what worked, expands what it can, and leaves you more invested than you were before. It is not perfect. The Drum Island episodes dip in production scope. Some character arcs lose focus in the wider ensemble. One practical effect prop actively undermines a performance. But the wins are significant and consistent. The cast is exceptional. The action is better. The scale is bigger. The score is outstanding. And the show's fundamental commitment to taking its source material seriously, not despite its absurdity, but because of it, remains the thing that separates One Piece from every other live-action adaptation on the market. This is what television should feel like. Wide open, generous with its runtime, built on genuine craft and genuine heart. Let me know in the comments. Do you think One Piece is the best live-action manga adaptation ever made? Or is something else holding the crown? If you made it this far, like, comment, and subscribe. More breakdowns of the shows that actually deserve the deep look are coming. Stay tuned.